Now we return to local news with Janet.
A community project that provides free fishing activities for children has been targeted by vandals 3 times in just over a week. The Outdoor Pursuits Scheme, TOPS, offers young people the chance to learn how to fish in Trent Park. But the recent vandalism has forced David Gibson, the project's founder, to put everything on hold. Mr. Gibson keeps all the equipment, including fishing rods, umbrellas, wheelbarrows, life jackets, in a brick building which was the former toilet block in Hadley Road car park. But since Friday, July the 12th, the building has been broken into 3 times. On Monday the 22nd, the new wooden door was knocked down and a window smashed in. Equipment including life jackets, life rings, fishing reels and umbrellas were also stolen. Mr. Gibson said, "There's glass everywhere in the kitchen area and the solid door has been knocked in. I just feel like crying. The kids will be absolutely gutted when they find out." Mr. Gibson had organised a free fishing and pond dipping event to take place on Saturday as part of Love Parks Week, but as a result of the break-in, he had to cancel the event. The avid fisherman said, "I feel infuriated someone would do this. Setting up this fishing club has been my dream for the past 18 years. When I was growing up in Chester, I was in every club imaginable, climbing, swimming, cricket, everything, and they were free or very cheap. But when I moved to London, I realised kids don't have those same opportunities. That's when I decided I really wanted to set up a free fishing club for children to enjoy. Every weekend, at least 50 children take part in the TOPS fishing sessions, with dozens more coming down to watch. Approximately £1,000 worth of equipment was taken from the TOPS store building last year. Mr. Gibson said the current incident takes the total thefts to 6. Police are investigating the latest break-ins.
This is a much more upbeat article about Trent Park. The mystery and history of Trent Park is being revealed in a series of guided walks through the 413-acre park. The Trent Park guided tours, led by Alan Metellus, are taking place on 3 Sundays, August the 25th, September the 22nd and October the 27th, and will let curious residents in on some of the secrets of the ancient parkland. From its associations with Camelot, the site of Arthurian legend, to the secret intelligence gathered on prisoners of war during World War II, the walk covers 2.5 miles and hundreds of years of history. Talking to the advertiser, Mr. Metellus explained that people often go on the walks with no idea of the area's historical significance. "These tours are about telling people what's beyond their doorstep," said the guide. "People say to me, 'I have lived here all my life and I never even knew that this existed.' That is the best thing to hear." Mr. Metellus added that one of the most interesting things for many people on the walk is the fact that the last private owner of the park was Sir Philip Sassoon, a cousin of the celebrated World War I poet Siegfried Sassoon. For those worried that the guided walks will be a whirlwind hike covering acres of parkland, he was keen to emphasise, "It is not a forced march. We walk at the pace of the slowest member of the group, and absolutely anyone can come along. The walks are free, and all people have to do is meet at 10 a.m. on any of the 3 dates over the next 3 months at the main car park outside Trent Park Cafe." A booklet covering some of the history in the tour can be downloaded from Enfield Council website www.enfield.gov.uk/Trent Park History.
We have an opinion here from Monty Meth, the Life President of the Enfield Over 50s Forum. When Chancellor George Osborne says he will make sure that everyone benefits from the economic recovery when it comes, I hope he's including young people, the future generations of pensioners. It's not too early to fire some warning shots when the Treasury, pensions and insurance bosses and think tank economists all moan that with 12.2 million people now of state pension age, we won't be able to afford the bill when 20 years hence there will instead be 15.6 million of us. For years we've heard about a demographic time bomb. 20 years ago I was involved in a report to government, employers and a wide range of opinion leaders which heralded a new phenomenon where after a life of work and raising a family, people could look forward to 20 or more years of healthy life expectancy. The only difference between then and now is that the 20 years became 30 years. The decision makers were warned, but they did precious little. True, successive Conservative and Labour governments had a titular minister for older people, and we had a quango called Better Government for Older People. All have sunk without trace, but the fallout remains and future pensioners will bear the brunt of this neglect. Employers have closed 87% of final salary pension schemes. The average private pension pot is about £33,000, much too small to provide a decent pension. So people are being told to save more, work longer and use any property in the family to fund a pension. The doom merchants are busy talking up the pensions crisis. So, why don't they use the £50 to £100 billion earmarked for the new HS2 rail link and the £25 billion to replace Trident to guarantee a decent state pension for all? Surely that's a better use of taxpayers' money and politicians' time than the current "don't rely on us, you're on your own, Jack and Jill" situation.
Enfield Southgate MP David Burrows has welcomed government plans to protect children online by forcing internet service providers to automatically install filters which block pornographic and child abuse content. In a recent speech, Prime Minister David Cameron outlined a number of proposals aimed at helping parents to protect their offsprings from viewing pornography. This included forcing internet service providers to instill opt-in filters, meaning that households connected to the internet would have to declare whether they want to maintain access to online porn. Mr Cameron also proposed to clamp down on child abuse images by boosting police cooperation between the UK and the US, backing the Internet Watch Foundation, the watchdog which works in partnership with the online industry, government and police to minimise the availability of criminal web content, and ensuring that there is one database to pool intelligence on harmful websites. Mr Burrows, who took part in a parliamentary inquiry about online child protection last year, said, "For too long, internet service providers have been allowed to stand by while parents struggle. This new strong action will ensure that parents receive the help and support they need, while simultaneously combating disturbing and illegal child pornography. The establishment of an opt-in filter to access adult material on the internet is a significant tool in the box to protect children. This is not going to solve the problem of child abuse by itself, but it can help people from going down a cycle of accessing increasingly extreme pornography. Pop-up warnings which make people think twice before clicking could have a positive effect, as well as directing people towards sites where they can access help." The Internet Watch Foundation also welcomed the move. A spokeswoman said, "We are particularly supportive of the formation of a new UK-US task force to maximise international cooperation fighting this content. Ultimately, the IWF's vision is the elimination of online child sexual abuse content, and any steps to do more to meet this vision is fantastic news for the UK and the world." Mr Cameron set Google and other providers a deadline of October when they will be called to Downing Street to produce their plans for clamping down on harmful web content. The opt-in filters are proposed to be in place in late 2014.
An Enfield man has dedicated his law degree to his inspirational mother, who died weeks after he started a master's degree. Albert Kiripokia, 30, threatened to give up the course after his mother died and informed tutors of his intention to withdraw. But with help from staff to catch up on missed classes and spurred on by his late mother's encouragement to take the course, he didn't look back and has now graduated from Middlesex University. Albert said, "I'm extremely happy that I can make my mother proud. I didn't stop my degree and it feels amazing to dress in the cap and gown and graduate. My bereavement affected me psychologically and financially, but I was supported and encouraged to continue by my lecturers. All the lecturers at Middlesex were friendly, welcoming and always prepared to assist students to resolve whatever problems they encountered. There were times when I felt I was asking too much, but they were always very happy to assist me. I'm very grateful to all my lecturers, especially when all I could think about was withdrawing from the course.
Butchers, bakers and fishmongers will be able to hone their craft at a new skills academy launched by Morrison's Supermarket. Morrison's has invested £500,000 to create the Craft Skills Academy at its Enfield store in Southbury Road. Craft butcher Sam Isaac, who has been a butcher for 14 years, is just one advocate of the academy. Sam, who will help to pass on her knowledge and skills to a new apprentice, said, "The new butcher's counter really shows off the traditional skills that have been around for years, and it's great that customers can see processes like sausage making in action. I think the counter has retained its traditional skills mixed with the convenience that the younger generation are looking for. The investment means the store can put another colleague through their 12-month butchery apprenticeship to gain an IPQ qualification. The academy has also seen 20 staff trained in matching food and wine so that they can recommend good combinations to customers, while the store's craft skills specialists have increased the number of products they make from scratch."
Some of you may have actually experienced the same problems this woman has had here, or maybe you or your family or friends. But it's about an elderly woman who was left isolated and without any means of contacting her daughter after her broadband provider left her without any internet connection for almost a week. Maureen Margree, 83, of Chimes Avenue, Palmer's Green, relies on her Virgin Media broadband to stay in touch with her 51-year-old daughter, Imogen Margree Hunt, who lives thousands of miles away on the Caribbean island of Antigua. Because of the 5-hour time difference, mother and daughter keep in touch via email. But then Maureen's internet inexplicably shut down. The reason I'm so upset is because of my daughter. Email is the only means I have of staying in touch with her, the octogenarian told the advertiser. She joked, "I'm sure she thinks I'm dead. I haven't contacted her for almost a week." Maureen's 56-year-old neighbour George, whose surname has got 14 letters in it I'm not going to attempt to say, was also left stranded after his broadband went on the blink. "Like most people, I do quite a bit of my work from home, and we are so dependent on the internet now," he said. "I was preparing for a presentation and had to work with only what I had to hand at home. I'm having to go to the library to do my work." The two complained to Virgin Media and were repeatedly told that engineers were working on the problem. But George's frustrations grew as the days went by, and his service was still not back up and running. Virgin said they were looking into the problem, but when I called, sometimes I talked to somebody in a call centre in India and sometimes to someone in England. I think we've all been there before. Other times a recorded message was playing telling me when the fault would be fixed, but the time they said when it would be back up and running by was always changing, he added. It was nearly a full week after their internet had first been cut off before residents of Chimes Avenue were finally reconnected. A Virgin Media spokeswoman said, due to planned maintenance work in the area, some customers may have experienced an intermittent broadband service. We can confirm these works have been completed, and we'd like to apologise for any inconvenience caused to our customers during this time. However, Maureen was furious that she had been cut off from contacting her family for so long. Many of my neighbours use the internet as part of their work. The company just fobbed us off, which is ridiculous, because then everybody gets irritated and cross, the grandmother of two added. The Virgin Media spokeswoman said that compensation claims would be evaluated on a case-by-case basis, and that anyone in the Palmer's Green area who has been affected by the breakdown should contact customer services on 0845 454 1111. I'll repeat that, 0845 454 1111. I do suspect you probably need to be ready to answer a whole lot of questions about how long and the dates, etc., before you can get anywhere.
A new depot has been branded a waste of taxpayers' money by Conservative councillors. The super depot in Mawson Road, Ponders End, will be the borough hub for vehicles used for street cleaning, refuse and recycling collection, as well as housing mobile libraries and the council's fleet of minibuses. The council is hailing it as a way to reduce overheads, as 3 depots in Advent Way, Edmonton, Berry Street West, Bush Hill Park and Melling Drive, Enfield, are merged into one. But Conservative spokesman for Finance, Terry Neville, has slammed the plan. Mr Neville told the Advertiser that the owners of the Mawson Road site, Murphy's Construction, had bought the location for £5.5 million in 2010. He said that the council had locked itself into a 40-year lease agreement and will have to pay £650,000 per annum to rent the space. He estimated that this would mean that in 40 years, even if the rent didn't go up, the council would have to fork out at least £26 million. Mr Neville argued that the council should have put a compulsory purchase order on the site and bought it outright for a more cost-effective lump sum. If this was my money, would I want to be locked into a 40-year lease? Of course not. I would want to do a better deal, he said. It's our money and the people of Enfield will be paying for this for a long time to come. The former Melling Drive depot has been sold to developers. The Advent Way site has been returned to its owner after the lease expired, and the council is discussing how to use the Berry Street West site. However, Cabinet Member for Environment Chris Bond said that the new depot represents a good deal for the council. He said, "After years of waiting, we have a brand new state-of-the-art depot, which is big enough to house a massive range of services and bring them together in one place. That makes it easier to maintain our fleet, reduces our overheads and means we can manage our operations far more efficiently than we've ever been able to do before."
A former mayor who has sat on the council for 27 years will not stand for election again in her current ward after she was cast aside in favour of new blood. During the Conservative group's Enfield North selection process, the panel of 8 people voted not to select Highlands Ward Councillor Anne-Marie Pearce to fight for that seat in next year's council elections. The long-standing councillor, who was chairwoman of the Health Scrutiny Panel until 2010, believes her age counted against her when the members of the panel were making up their minds. "I was rather surprised I was not reselected," the 72-year-old told the Advertiser. "I have 27 years' experience in working for the council, and I still have a lot to give to the Conservative Party." The selection panel offered Mrs Pearce the chance to stand for election in the Turkey Street ward, a safe Labour seat. But the councillor argued that she does not know the area, its residents or its problems in the same way she understands those in the west of the borough. "It is not to say you couldn't get to know another area, but I really felt that I still have a lot to give the community here," she said. Defending the ousting of the veteran councillor, chairman of the Enfield North selection panel, Matthew Laban, told the Advertiser, "I chair the panel, and it was a joint, unanimous decision. Anne-Marie has given over 20 years of excellent service to the Conservatives, and they, the panel, thought it was time for new blood in the party." Mrs Pearce added, "If they want new blood, that's fantastic. I agree. Any party does need young blood, but all I wanted to do was another 4 years. If they did want to get new blood in, then why are my 2 colleagues, John Kay and Don Delman, still in place? Lee Sanders will run for the Conservatives in Highlands Ward in her place."
A new slimy amphibian will welcome visitors to the borough after a specially commissioned sculpture was unveiled opposite one of the borough's train stations. The £15,000 sculpture resembles a combination of a frog and a fish and is situated near Turkey Street Station in Turkey Street. The latest piece of public art to grace the borough is designed to brighten up the previously derelict, unloved and unkempt open space opposite the station. The amphibious creation was dreamt up by a local artist as a way to represent residents' memories of the wildlife that used to be a regular feature of the area. The council revealed that 300 residents took part in the Memories of Turkey Street project in November 2011 when they worked with the artist to help create an alternative image for the area. The unveiling of the statue coincides with extensive landscaping work that took place on the site in a bid to improve first impressions of the borough. Cabinet Member for Environment, Chris Bond, hailed the sprucing up of the previously derelict space as a sign Enfield is serious about its regeneration and improvement pledges. He said, "By systematically improving our rundown open spaces, we are improving the look of the borough, reducing crime and disorder, and encouraging people to get out of their houses and enjoy the fantastic facilities this borough has to offer."
Edmonton MP Andy Love visited a medieval parish church in his constituency to support a fundraising effort aimed at refurbishing its roof and tower. Mr Love was joined by Reverend Peter Wheatley, the Bishop of Edmonton, during a visit to All Saints Church in Church Street, Edmonton. The duo were officially welcomed as honorary patrons of the Friends of All Saints by the Vicar, Reverend Stuart Owen. The Anglican Parish Church, the foundations of which date back to the 9th century, is raising money for a major repair programme involving its 15th century tower masonry and roof. During an inspection in 2009, the church's architect, Colin Kerr, found that while the tower was structurally sound, the masonry, constructed from Kentish ragstone, was in poor condition. The church was placed on England's Heritage Buildings at Risk Register in 2010. It is estimated that the total cost of repairs will be in the region of £750,000. The church has been holding small fundraising events and is awaiting the result of a £218,000 grant bid made to the Heritage Lottery Fund. Mr Owen said, "Our church is a special place for many people, even those who have no religious sympathies, but value the building for historical and architectural reasons. We formed our Friends group after All Saints was put on the at-risk register. The most urgent work that needs doing is the repair of the roof, as it is already leaking, but the architect advised us that the tower needs to be refurbished first, as bits of stone keep falling onto the roof. If our HLF bid is successful, this may have a domino effect, as many organisations would want a church to be able to deliver a project within 12 months, so securing a considerable part of the money needed could open the door to other potential future donations." Mr Love added, "This is both the oldest and the best example of church architecture in the borough, and a building of great historical and religious relevance. But the work is long overdue, and I am supporting the church in their fundraising efforts, so that the building can be maintained and will be available for future generations. The church will find out in September if the Heritage Lottery Fund bid has been successful."
Now here's an article from Andy Love regarding a new youth club. Unity Hub at Craig Park is now open, and it really does glow in the dark. It's the white cube-like building at one end of Baxter Road in Edmonton. It's a brand new youth centre which welcomes more than 100 people each day from 10 a.m. right up to 9:30 p.m. But it's very different from the youth centres from my years as a young lad. They barely existed then, and the ones that did considered themselves lucky if they managed to get a table tennis table with bats and a ball. I was at Unity Hub's official opening last week, and it stands as a testament to the groups working together. Meeting at the old Craig Park Centre, 2 youth centres in Edmonton became the Unity Youth Team. People looked beyond their postcodes and began developing their skills and experience, and the final result is the new hub. Now 13 to 19-year-olds have a brand new youth centre. They researched the architecture, put together business plans and got builders and designers to put their own ideas into the building. The great thing about it is, as it was designed for young people by the same young people who will now use it. Many of them are also running it too. As well as looking so good, it boasts some brilliant facilities, including a well-equipped media suite, recording studio, climbing cave, gym and dance studio. Music, film, cooking, art and drama are just a few of the activities on offer. For those who are keen on outside sports, there is also plenty there. Facilities for ball games and cycling courses, as well as training in renovating and repairing bikes. That's why the building is like a welcoming beacon at which all young people will find something to do. Small wonder then that it has already been shortlisted for a new London Architecture Award.
2 men from Enfield have been charged with drug offences after detectives recovered cocaine worth £2.7 million and £50,000 in cash. Police stopped a silver BMW on the North Circular near the Waterworks roundabout at Woodford Road. They spent an hour searching the car with the help of a sniffer dog before finding 7 blocks of what is believed to be cocaine in a hidden compartment. One of the men in the car had a key to a Mercedes car, which officers located in Ecclesbourne Close, N13. They found a blue plastic bag in the boot stuffed full of £50 notes, estimated to be worth more than £50,000. 2 more blocks of drugs were found at Jutland Road, Plaistow, and a hydraulic cocaine press and a money counting machine were discovered at an address in Linkside Gardens, Enfield. Detective Inspector Steve Miles said, "There's no doubt we have uncovered a highly sophisticated crime network involved in the distribution of drugs and money laundering on a large scale." 5 men aged between 24 and 31 were subsequently arrested on suspicion of drug trafficking or supply offences. Among them were Jensen Matterjee, 24, and Burkle Matterjee, 29, both of Linkside Gardens, Enfield, who appeared at Thames Magistrate Court last Wednesday, charged with conspiracy to provide Class A drugs and Class B drugs and money laundering. They were remanded in custody and will appear next at Maidstone Crown Court on September the 4th.
Enfield Town proved far too strong for Belgian visitors SK Beveren on Saturday as they successfully retained the Supporters Direct Cup with emphatic 8-2 victory. The match saw Town take on international opposition for the first time in their history as they faced fan-owned Beveren, who were formed from the ashes of former UEFA Cup quarter-finalists KSK Beveren, and completed their second season in the 4th Provincial League by gaining promotion through the playoffs. Extra spice was added on the occasion by the fact that the Supporters Direct Cup was at stake, an annual contest between 2 clubs who are owned by their fans, which Town had won for the first time 12 months ago. However, it soon became clear that there was a gulf in standard between the sides as Town created a succession of chances from the start. Enfield Town, who visited Cheshunt last night, round off their pre-season programme with home matches against Witham Town and Bishop Stortford.
We've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Janet, Katherin, John, Keith and Cassandra on the controls, it's goodbye.
Bye.
Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.